Hey everyone, it's Nurse Nikki, and it is Women's Health Wednesday again. All right. This month is National Breastfeeding Month, and I could not end National Breastfeeding Month without recognizing Black Breastfeeding Week, which sheds light on breastfeeding in the African American community with education, support, and engagement. But tonight I want to do a special Women's Health Wednesday about breastfeeding and sex because so many of y'all ask about it. And I just want to give you some tips, all right? So let's get into it, like Tabitha Brown say. Okay, so a lot of moms say, I leak during sex. So what should I do? Because, you got that oxytocin, which is the love hormone, which causes the orgasms. And then you have that oxytocin that also helps with the injection of the milk. So it's only natural that happens when you're intimate, right? So what happens? What do I do? Talk to your partner ahead of time. Talk to your partner ahead of time so it's not something where it happens and it throws everybody off, all right? So say, hey, there's a chance I'm going to leak during this situation. How do you feel about that? Some folks are like, oh, well, I'm cool with that if you cool with it. Others like, that may freak me out, okay? So what can you do to help if that happens? So you can wear a nursing bra and put some pads down in it. You can pump before you're intimate. You can make sure you feed your baby before you're intimate. And then you can also just focus on other areas. So that's always a good tip. But some people are like, you know what, my breasts are off limits. I don't really want anybody, touching on my breasts during intimacy. And that's totally understandable because our breasts are being used in a different way, and they may not be seen as that sexy thing about your body or that intimate. You may not think of them as being a place of intimacy. So you're like, you know what? I don't want you touching my breast. And that's great that you're aware of that. So be aware of your preferences. Please express this again to your partner. Communication is key when we're talking about breastfeeding and sex. You want to communicate with your partner, expectations ahead of time. So when you're in the moment, it's not like a surprise, like, you got milk squirting all in my face. Okay. Share your emotions and instruct your partner to avoid your breast. Like, just focus on other things. Some people may say sex is painful. So remember, in our previous videos, we talked about breastfeeding, the prolactin, the milk-producing hormone, can cause the estrogen to lower, right? So prolactin's up here, estrogen's down here. That can cause a dry vagina, all right? So when it comes to penetrative sex, where something comes inside of the vagina, it can be kind of dry. So what do you want to do first? Self-intimacy. You want to go down there and explore yourself before you're intimate with another person or people, so you can understand what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what makes you moist and what doesn't make you moist, what doesn't feel great anymore. Things that happened that were making you feel good before you had your baby may not work now. Find out what those preferences are. You can always use a lubricant. Water-based lubricants, one of my favorite lubricants is Good Clean Love. It tends to have that hypoallergenic effect where you don't get a whole lot of rashes or anything like that. When you start getting into your candy apple, sour apple, cherry flavor, you putting yourself in a situation where you may get a little bacterial vaginosis or a rash or your vagina burning. All right, so you don't want that situation. So use a good a mild lubricant to start out, not the warming lubricant, especially if you just had your baby. Using a warming lubricant down there on your vagina after you just had a baby because your vagina is dry may cause some irritation to areas that haven't quite healed yet. So be cautious with the warming lubricants because it may give you a situation that you weren't planning for. Experiment with a vibrator. Always, by yourself, see what feels good. Again, if your vagina feels really, really tight, you may want to experiment with a vibrator first. So when you do get in the heated moment, that you feel much more comfortable with penetrative sex, all right? Or a dilator. So dilators come in very small, like this, and it gradually goes up. You want to talk to a pelvic floor physical therapist about using dilators because they can be really helpful, especially when you're really dry and you feel really tight and you don't want anything coming inside of your vagina. It can slowly work your way up to the size that you want to make your vagina available for. Okay. Try different positions with sex. missionary is not always for everybody. With your partner on top and you on the bottom, that may not feel good. It may feel like you're bumping up against something. Try it with you being on top and your partner on the bottom, or on the side where you're spooning, things like that. So don't think outside the box. Go get a Kama Sutra book. Look on read a Cosmo magazine. Talk to your grandma. She may know. Like, these aren't new concepts, and we just have to really focus on just bring back that knowledge of sharing this information, because some of us are just lost and we weren't told these things, or people didn't feel comfortable talking about these things. And I hope that we're getting to a point where we can talk about them more. Another thing that I hear from parents is, my baby is a cock blocker. Yes, babies are cock blockers. They mess up your whole groove. You ever hear about them phantom cries when you're in the shower and you're like, the baby's crying, and you run out and the baby's not crying? Or you're getting into the mood and you're like, you really get into it and you feel you're like, this is going to happen. Your partner's like, this is going to happen. And then you're like, oh no, the baby's crying. You go in there and the baby's asleep. Yeah, that's how the baby's messing up your whole mind and then affecting your body and your groove. Okay. So feed the baby before, change the baby's diaper, put the baby down right before, but also be flexible. Know that, yep, there's a chance this baby may wake up. All right. And be patient with yourself. Know that, again, baby's going to wake up. We need to go rock the baby, put the baby back down. How you feel about getting back into this? Communicate with your partner, and don't limit yourself to the bedroom. If you share your bedroom with your baby, did someone say you had to have sex in your bedroom? You don't have to have sex in your bedroom. Go outside of your bedroom. Go to the closet. Go to the bathroom. Go to the kitchen. Just clean up afterwards. Those are all great places to explore, and it's limitless, okay? There are no limits on where you can be intimate. Some folks say, I don't even think about sex, Nurse Nikki. And that's totally normal. It's totally normal not to think about sex when a big old watermelon came out of your vagina, okay? And you're breastfeeding and you're leaking and just so much stimulation, and that's okay. But remember, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. No one said you had to go and make a home run and go to the fourth base. Like, no one said that. You can start at first base. Stay at first base a week. Go to second base. Go to third base. And then you're like, you know what? I think we can do it. Go in and make a home run. All right. But you also don't have to have penetrative sex either. Like, you can have oral sex. You can have anal sex if that's what you're cool with. You can kiss your way into an orgasm. Like, there are a variety of ways. So we think of, I can't have sex, no sex. Well, that's penetrative sex. That's what most people feel most uncomfortable with, just being intimate. There are different levels of intimacy. I hope that all of this was helpful for you. Please share with your friends and your family and anyone that needs it. I will talk to y'all soon, and have an amazing rest of your breastfeeding month. Bye, y'all.